Jack wakes up before the sun rises, exhausted from the night before. He puts on his usual stained uniform and walks to the bus stop. The journey to the restaurant is long, but he's used to it. The smell of grease and detergent takes over the kitchen as he starts washing piles of dishes. Day after day, he follows the same routine, feeling that his life is stuck in time. His salary barely covers the rent on his small apartment. The bills pile up, and any extra spending seems like an impossible luxury. While his colleagues talk about traveling or new purchases, Jack avoids the conversation. He's 30 and feels he should be in a better place in life. But with no degree and no connections, he wonders if he'll ever have a real chance to change his story. Sometimes, between meals, Jack observes the restaurant's customers. Well-dressed people talking about investments and business. He wonders how they got there. Were they born rich? Did they have an opportunity that he will never have? Frustration grows, but he pushes the thoughts away. Dreaming doesn't pay the bills, and tomorrow will be just another day. At night, Jack returns home, throws his shoes in the corner and lies down on the thin mattress. The cramped apartment reflects his reality. Little space, few options, few chances. The cracked ceiling seems a constant reminder of his limited life. He picks up his cell phone and starts scrolling through videos of success stories. For a moment, he feels a glimmer of hope. But can he really get out of this life? After another long day at the restaurant, Jack sits at the table in his small apartment with a notebook open. He has an idea, a simple but useful product, something he could sell online. He has spent weeks researching, watching videos, and writing down strategies. For the first time in years, he feels a spark of enthusiasm. But as soon as he shares his plan with friends, the reactions are disheartening. You? Create a business? Your coworker laughs, shaking his head. Dude, you wash dishes. People like us don't get rich. Jack hears these words and feels a tightness in his chest. He expected support, but receives doubtful looks. Even his family is skeptical. His mother sighs and says he should focus on getting a secure job, something stable. For them, dreaming big is just a way to be disappointed. With no degree, no connections, and no money to invest, Jack begins to question whether they are right. He has failed so many times. Will this idea be just another mistake? The fear of shame paralyzes you. He imagines people saying, "I told you so," if he fails. Insecurity grows, and the spark of enthusiasm begins to fade. Maybe it's better to forget about it and accept the life you have. But a part of him refuses to give up. Late at night, he picks up his cell phone and watches more stories of people who started with nothing. Some had no money, others faced rejection, but those who moved forward managed to change their lives. Jack takes a deep breath. If no one believes him, he will have to be the first to believe. Jack arrives home after another day at the restaurant, but this time something is different. Instead of turning on the TV and letting time pass, he opens the old laptop he managed to buy used. He starts researching online businesses, investments, and stories of people who started from scratch. Every video, every article seems to open a new world before him, and he feels like maybe there is a way forward. In the following days, he turns his few free moments into learning time. During his break at work, instead of talking about football with his colleagues, he watches videos about marketing and sales. On the bus, he reads articles about entrepreneurs who started with no money. The routine is still difficult, but now he has a goal. He realizes that knowledge can be his best tool. One night, Jack finds a story that resonates with him. A man who worked a simple job and created a small online business that changed his life. If he could do it, why can't I? This question stays in your mind. And now, he doesn't see success as something distant or impossible. He realizes that what really separates him from these people is not luck, but action. With this new mindset, Jack decides to take the first step. He doesn't have a lot of money, but he can start small. He writes down his ideas, makes simple calculations, and draws up an initial plan. The fear is still there, but now he feels something stronger: determination. He knows he can no longer wait for an opportunity. He needs to create it. Jack knows that, without money, his plan will never get off the ground. After many doubts, he makes a bold decision. He asks for a small loan. It's not much, but for him, every penny counts. With this money, he buys a small stock of the innovative product he believes has potential. He creates a simple website, sets up ads, and anxiously waits for the first sale. Your heart beats faster. This is your first big risk. The days pass and nothing happens. Jack obsessively updates the order page, but the number remains at 0. He tries to adjust the ads, changes some descriptions, but sales remain stagnant. The initial excitement begins to turn into frustration. He begins to wonder, what if everyone is right? What if this is just a costly mistake? The fear of failure becomes more real every day. While washing dishes at the restaurant, your mind is far away. He thinks about the money he has already spent and what he will do if he loses it all. Will you have to ask for overtime to pay the debt? The weight of uncertainty is crushing, but giving up now would mean throwing away all the effort made so far. He takes a deep breath and decides to keep trying. After all, big changes don't happen overnight. Instead of getting discouraged, Jack redoubles his efforts. He studies how to improve his ads, looks for new marketing strategies, and tries to understand what's wrong. Each adjustment brings a small hope that something can change. He knows this is the decisive moment. Either he insists, or his journey ends before it even begins. The weeks pass, and Jack sees his money disappear with no return. The ads are running, inventory is still sitting idle, and the bills are starting to pile up. The rent is late, and the credit card bill arrives as a cruel reminder of your failure. He begins to sleep poorly, feeling the weight of each wrong decision. Faced with this, he seriously considers giving up. Maybe it's time to accept that you weren't cut out for this. At the restaurant, your boss notices something is wrong and asks what happened. When Jack mentions his business, the reaction is immediate. A loud, mocking laugh. So you thought you were going to get rich selling this crap on the internet? Dude, get back to work, you're not that kind of person. The words cut deep. He feels ashamed, as if he is being exposed for believing he could be more than just a dishwasher. At home, the pressure continues. His mother calls and, worried, asks him to stop this madness before he sinks even deeper into debt. Friends comment that he should have listened from the beginning. Jack feels like he's alone in this fight. He looks at his stranded inventory and his nearly zero bank statement. The voice in his head says he failed, that everyone was right all along. That night, Jack sits on the edge of the bed and stares at the floor for long minutes. He feels a knot in his chest, a mixture of shame, anger, and sadness. He wanted to prove he was capable, but now it all seems like a mistake. Should he forget this dream and go on with his normal life? With a deep sigh, he closes his eyes. He knows he is faced with a choice. Give up now or find a way out. Jack is about to give up when, without much hope, he decides to send his product to some influencers. He doesn't have the money to pay for advertising, but he's betting that someone might like it and share it. Days later, he receives an unexpected notification. A famous influencer made a video praising his product. The video starts to go viral, accumulating thousands of views. Jack watches in disbelief, not believing what is happening. That same night, your cell phone starts vibrating non-stop. He opens the website and sees something that has never happened before. The first order, then the second, the third. In a few hours, he sells more than in all the previous months. The stock that seemed like dead weight is now disappearing quickly. Jack feels a mixture of euphoria and relief. Then finally, he proves to himself that his idea had value. The following days are a whirlwind. He rushes to replenish stock, responds to customers, and tries to organize orders. The money enters the account faster than he imagined. In a few days, Jack earns more than he had in months at the restaurant. He laughs to himself, remembering all the times they doubted him. Now, he's no longer just a dishwasher. He's a budding entrepreneur. When he arrives at the restaurant, something has changed. The boss who was making fun of him realizes that something is different. Jack holds his apron, looks around, and feels a certainty within him. He doesn't need to be there anymore. With a smile on his face, he makes a decision that seemed impossible not long ago. He hands over his apron and says he's leaving. He finally won his freedom. Jack always imagined that once he became rich, his life would be perfect. But he soon realizes that success brings challenges he never expected. Suddenly, people who barely spoke to him start showing up, asking how he managed to get rich so fast. Some treat him with admiration, while others seem merely curious. At first, he likes the attention, but something starts to feel off. Former restaurant colleagues who once laughed at him now praise him and ask for advice about money. Some even ask for small loans, promising to pay back as soon as things get better. Jack wants to help, but realizes that many don't really want to change. They just want a piece of their luck. Even family members begin to hint about how he should pay back for everything they did for him. At the same time, new friends appear out of nowhere. People who never showed interest now call you for unmissable parties, trips, and deals. Jack begins to feel like no one cares about who he really is, only what he can offer. He remembers the time when he was alone, washing dishes, with no one to support him. Now, surrounded by people, he feels more isolated than ever. One night, Jack looks at his bank account and realizes that money was never his true goal. He wanted freedom, not fake attention. He understands that he needs to be more selective with the people around him. Success gave him a lot, but it also brought a new challenge: learning who he could really trust. Jack is still getting used to his new life when he receives an unmissable proposal. An old friend, who he hasn't seen in years, shows up with an investment idea. This will double your money in a few months, he promises, showing graphs and stories of other people who have profited. Jack, excited about his success, decides to trust. He transfers a large amount without asking much questions. After all, he's part of the business world now, right? Weeks pass, and Jack begins to feel that something is wrong. The friend avoids responding to messages, and updates about the investment become vague. When he finally gets an answer, it's too late. The money disappeared. The friend disappeared. Jack feels butterflies in his stomach. He has been tricked. The same feeling of failure he had when no one believed in him comes back with a vengeance. He spends days dwelling on his mistake, feeling angry at himself for being naive. How could someone who came from the bottom and fought so hard fall into such an obvious trap? But then, he realizes something. Success without financial intelligence can be as dangerous as poverty. Money doesn't solve everything. Without knowledge and strategy, he could lose everything as quickly as he won. This mistake was costly but also a valuable lesson. Instead of wallowing in regret, Jack decides to change. He starts to really study finance, learns to protect his money, and surrounds himself with trustworthy people. His friend's betrayal still hurts, but now he understands. In the business world, trust must be earned, not given easily. This experience won't destroy you, it will make you even stronger. After the painful loss, Jack could have wallowed in regret, but instead he decides to act. He spends months studying finance, investments, and business management. Learn about risks, contracts, and how to avoid scams. This time, he's not just making money. He's learning how to protect and multiply it. The mistake of the past was not the end, but the beginning of a new phase. With more knowledge, Jack returns to the game strategically. Instead of blindly trusting promises, he analyzes each opportunity carefully. He diversifies his investments, builds a reliable team, and creates a solid financial plan. Now, your decisions are not impulsive, they are calculated. Little by little, he rebuilds his empire, but this time on much more secure foundations. In the process, he also learns to deal with the people around him. True friends remain by his side, while self-interested friends disappear when they realize they can no longer take advantage of him. Jack no longer lets himself be carried away by empty praise or false promises. He finally understands that success isn't just about money. It's about intelligence, control, and the right people around. Now, Jack not only has wealth, but freedom and peace of mind. He looks back and sees how much he has grown, from a simple dishwasher to a successful businessman. Every mistake and every obstacle was part of your journey. Today, he no longer fears losing everything, because he knows he has the knowledge and resilience to always start over. He doesn't depend on luck. he depends on himself. Jack sits on the porch of his new home, looking out at the horizon. He thinks about all the difficulties he faced, the days washing dishes, the sleepless nights doubting himself, the losses and betrayals. But most of all, he remembers the moment that changed everything. When he decided to believe in himself, even when no one else did. That was the real turning point. He realizes that success was not just about money, but about growth. Each obstacle was part of the journey. Each mistake brought valuable learning. If I had given up at the first failure, I would never have gotten this far. Now, he shares his story because he knows there are many people like him, stuck in dead-end jobs, with dreams on hold and afraid to try. Jack wants these people to know that the path won't be easy, but it is possible. It doesn't matter where you come from, what matters is where you want to go. Success doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a simple decision. Taking the first step. If he can get out of rock bottom and build something great, anyone can, as long as they are willing to learn and persist. And now, he asks you, what is your dream? What's stopping you from getting started? If the story inspired you in any way, leave your comment and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to see more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Never forget, everything can change when you believe in yourself.